Are there foods that you should avoid when starting a GLP-1 or throughout your GLP-1 journey? That is what we are talking about today. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel for another video today. Welcome to this week's GLP-1 discussion video, which is all about GLP-1 no foods. Now, I want to preface this by saying that I am of the personal belief that no foods are no foods. I do not like labeling a food as being bad or being something that you should avoid, because I think that all food is good food in moderation. All food serves a purpose in your life and a time as you want to enjoy it, right? I wanted to say that right up front, that I'm not coming at you guys sitting here saying, don't eat this food ever again, or you're going to have awful side effects. That's not what I'm saying. However, when you are starting your GLP-1 journey, there are definitely some foods that have been shown to either cause worse side effects or to just exasperate them. And so that is what we are going to be focusing on now. Now, as always, I am not a doctor. Please always talk to your healthcare provider about your specific health situation. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. This is very personal. I do want to say that as well. So, you're going to get people that tell you, oh, well, I never had a problem with this food, but you did, or I had a problem when I got to this dose or that dose. So it is very person specific as well as dose specific. For me personally, every time that I would increase my dosage in any way, my side effects would get worse and foods that I had to avoid would come back. And then as I got used to that dose, I wouldn't have to avoid those foods. So I am somebody that just really needs to avoid during the first few weeks of a specific dose, whereas there are some people that have to avoid a certain food all of the time. If you are one of those people, or if you're one of the other type like myself, leave us down in the comments. We can get a little bit of a vibe about how other people are doing in terms of foods they need to or don't need to avoid. So let's go ahead and jump right on into it. Avoiding these things at the beginning of your journey can significantly help you to reduce your side effect. Again, I'm saying this, it's probably the second time I've said this in the 4 minutes this video has been going on. This does not mean that you have to avoid these foods forever or for any length of time. But in the beginning, if you want to make your side effects better or easier to manage, these are some good foods to avoid. Number one is greasy foods. So we're talking fried or high fat foods. These things are hard for your body to digest anyways. So when you eat a salad versus eating greasy McDonald's, your body is going to digest the salad a lot easier with a lot less effort than it takes for it to digest the greasy, high fat, overly processed food, right? When you take a GLP-1, as we all know, your stomach emptying process, your digestion process is slowed significantly. So you can kind of see where this is going. If we put a high fat, greasy meal in our stomach that is already slower digestion, it's only going to make things worse. So that is when you get into the side effects of like the heavy full feeling, nausea, vomiting, the sulfur burps. So many people complain about the sulfur burps. I was one that complained about the sulfur burps for like many months of my journey. If you go back to earlier videos of mine, you will see me bringing up sulfur burps quite frequently because it's something that I struggled with. And guess what? Now I know it's what I was eating. I've finally made that connection that when I would eat something that was higher fat, higher grease level, like a fried something, I would get the sulfur burps. Or when I ate something that took longer for my body to digest and it was just sitting in there for a while, I would get the sulfur burps. It all connects back. And most side effects with a GLP-1, you can trace back to some type of explanation or some type of behavior, and this is one of them. So, fried foods, we love them. In the beginning, it's probably best. It's probably best to avoid them for the most part all of the time, right? But definitely beginning of your journey, it's going to help your side effect a lot. Be a lot calmer and a lot more manageable if you just avoid them. So examples of foods to avoid: all fried foods pretty much, bacon, sausage, heavy dairy, pizza, which literally is the combination of the worst thing. Pizza's so delicious, right? But you have high fat content cheese and grease smashed together. So yeah, pizza's probably off limits for a little while. Number 2, sugar or refined carbs. So what this does, and this is not just like, oh, you're going to tell me I can't have sugar because sugar is bad for you and I'm going to gain weight or I'm not going to lose weight if I eat sugar. But there's actually like a scientific explanation for why sugar may be bad for you in the beginning of your GLP-1 journey. So sugar causes you to have blood sugar spikes. Then a few hours later, as we all know, you eat a piece of cake, you eat a donut, you have a sugar rush, and then you crash, right? So when you're using a GLP-1, you're literally helping your body to regulate your sugar better. You're helping your body to release insulin into your body the way that it should. It all goes back to your gut telling your pancreas to release the insulin that it needs to release in order to make your body function and all your hormones to balance and all of that. It's all about blood sugar regulation. When you throw a lot of sugar at your body and then you have, through a donut or whatever, and then you have a blood sugar spike, even though your body's doing it more efficiently and it's handling things more efficiently, you're still going to have that blood sugar crash, and then you're going to have headache and nausea, and some people get diarrhea when that happens. It's not a good combination. So yes, we want the cake, we want the donut sometimes, but it's best to avoid it in the beginning, especially when you are still increasing your dose quite regularly. You don't want to add an increased dose with better blood sugar control and your body already doing things with your blood sugar, and then you throw a high sugared item at it. It's just not a good idea. So avoid candy, cake, soda. White carbs was listed on this when I was doing my research, but I put in parentheses, limit those, right? Again, nothing is off limits. Can you have a cup of white rice occasionally? Can you have a piece of French bread with your dinner? Yes, I eat everything in moderation. I want to reiterate, this is specifically for when you are starting your journey or when you are increasing dose quite regularly. These are things that can make side effects worse. Does not mean you can never have them. So I put limit white carbs. I eat them. I mean, to be honest, at this point, I eat most of these things in moderation. But in the beginning, I didn't because I knew that it was going to make me feel worse. Or I learned the lesson by eating them and then feeling awful afterwards. And trust me, you do not want that because I did it many a times in my journey. It took my body and my brain a while to catch up with the fact of what was happening. I know this sounds so silly, but it took my body a while to correlate the fact that I was feeling so crappy because of what I was eating. I know that sounds absolutely absurd, but you guys know when I started my GLP-1 journey, I had no knowledge really of GLP-1s or research. I hadn't done a ton of research on them. I saw Aaron Williams talk about them and I hopped on the train, right? And so I didn't know a whole lot, and it took my brain a little while to catch up. Maybe I don't need to eat McDonald's chicken nuggets. Yes, in my mind, I'm eating 4 nuggets and that's not a lot of food, but I'm eating grease, I'm eating high fat, and my body's reacting to that. So it takes time. I understand. We all will probably make the mistake a couple of times of going and getting Chick-fil-A or whatever, and then you regret it afterwards. Okay, number 3, they have listed, and is carbonated drinks, okay? But I don't know how I personally feel about this one. I love a seltzer water. You guys know that. I drink them all the time, and they never personally affected me. So again, person to person is different. Do you want to avoid all carbonated drinks for no reason without realizing whether or not they affect you? No. Same thing you would do with all of these things. Trust me. Test them out. See how you feel. If it's bad, you won't do it again. You won't make that same mistake more than once. Trust me. Number 4 is hard to digest proteins. This one is one that it makes sense now, but in the beginning, I wouldn't have even considered. So proteins that take longer for your body to digest are like pork, red meat. So that big juicy steak you want to eat, it's probably sitting in your stomach forever, taking forever for it to digest. And it goes back to it being a higher fat content. Meats like chicken and turkey and fish, they are leaner, and so your body is able to digest them a lot more efficiently, whereas a steak or ground beef or anything like that is just going to take your body a lot longer. It's going to sit there a lot longer, causing the negative side effects. So you should eat lean protein, again, chicken, turkey, fish, cooked vegetables, and soft carbs. The raw veggies was also listed on this one, and this one is one that I actually personally wanted to touch on because it is still the one food that I cannot eat. And I am almost 3 years into this journey. It is August 25th as I am filming this video. My 3 years is November, okay? I still, the day, probably 2 days after my injection, cannot eat a raw vegetable. We're talking salad. Salad's the biggest one. Salad's the reason that I really figured it out. I always take my shot on Thursday evenings, and a lot of the time on Friday or Saturdays, we would go out to eat one of those nights. And I like to get a salad when I go out to eat, right? I have learned my lesson. The last like 4 times I've done it, I've ended up vomiting. Sorry if that's TMI. But I still cannot eat raw broccoli, raw anything. No raw veggies. We're talking raw carrots, cucumbers, peppers. And you guys know I love a green pepper. If you've been following me for long enough, you know that I am obsessed with a green pepper, can eat it like an apple. I can't eat them for 2 days after my injection. That is the only food and the only food that like I had a problem with that I still now consistently have a problem with. Do you have a food like that? Let me know down below. All of the other ones I can now eat in moderation. So everything, fatty foods, cakes, carbonated drinks, all of the other no foods, quote unquote, I can eat now 3 years later. So that's a question that I get quite often. Actually, I see it a lot in the Facebook group is, I don't want this to be a diet, Brittany. I don't want it to be where I have to avoid all of these foods that I love for the rest of my life. And I think it's important to note that you don't have to, and you don't have to on any diet, but society tells us that we do. With a GLP-1, the whole point is for it to be a tool to help you learn how to eat for your body, to fuel your body, because your body will quite literally tell you when you are not fueling it properly. So I think that's another like hidden benefit of a GLP-1, right? Is that it'll correct you. If you eat something that is not for you, is not fueling your body, it's gonna tell you. And you're gonna learn that lesson. It's kind of similar to gastric bypass. So my mom had a gastric bypass, back in like 2002. And I remember she used to tell me that she can't have like coffee too early in the day. She could never eat broccoli. I still don't know if she can eat broccoli because it would make her throw up. Her body would react to it. And that's essentially what the GLP-1 is doing as well. So when you say it's a no food, essentially it's a food that your body is telling you that is not for you, that it doesn't want to properly use to nourish your body, and that there are other options that are better for you. So I do think it's kind of silly that I can't have raw vegetables 2 days after my shot, but it's fine. I eat salads towards the end of my week and it works out. But I want to know what your thoughts are on this because again, I think I got off on a tangent and I didn't finish the full thought that I was saying about people saying like, I don't want to avoid foods forever. You don't have to. And that's the thing. That's why diets have never worked, right? Like a typical calorie counting food restriction diet that we've been told is the way for years and years and years. It never works because we're not meant to be restricted. I've mentioned this on calorie counting as well. We are not meant to count a calorie. Do some of us need it? And is it beneficial for some of us? Yes, of course. I'm not saying that nobody should calorie count, but we as humans, we're not meant to calorie count every calorie that we ever put into our body. We also probably were not meant to eat a lot of this crap. So there's that as well. You could argue that as well, but we're not meant to eliminate anything. We're not meant to restrict ourselves. We're supposed to live and live fully and freely. And so I don't want people to see this video and think, oh, well, I can never have any of these foods ever again. That's not true. You just have to test what's good for you, what works for you, and figure out a way to incorporate that into your new lifestyle. And that was the main purpose of this video that I wanted to share with you guys, is that everybody's different. Everybody's going to be affected differently. And we have to take what we can from information like this and take what you can utilize and use in your life. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I've seen so many of these where it's like 50 no foods and 25 foods you never should eat on a GLP-1. And that's not what this is. It's not what we do here. You can eat whatever you want. Just, if it makes you throw up, maybe don't eat it for a couple of days after your shot. That's my 2 cents. That's how I feel about it. Not a doctor. Somebody would probably tell you different, but That's what Brittany's going to tell you. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I want to discuss with you guys what you think about this. Are there foods that you can't eat? Are there foods that you couldn't eat but now can eat again? I want to talk about it. Let's talk in the comment section, or you can head over to the Facebook group, which is a free encouragement group. It's always linked down below, and join there and we can chat about it there as well. Maybe I'll even create a thread for it and we can chat there. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I will see you guys in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.